The tall grass of Light Meadow parted in a blur of motion as Sammy and Sunny tore across the field. Sammy darted ahead, his small feet barely touching the earth, while Sunny followed close behind, his steady stride eating up the distance. They were a whirlwind of energy, chasing the last warmth of the afternoon. Sammy skidded to a halt behind the thick trunk of an ancient oak tree, his chest heaving with exertion. He pressed his back against the rough bark, listening to the heavy, rhythmic thumping of Sunny's paws, closing in. "Catch me if you can, Sunny," Sammy chirped, his voice bright and sharp. Sunny rounded the tree in a wide, sweeping arc, his nose low to the ground as he tracked the scent. They were locked in the game, ignoring the world beyond their immediate circle of play. The sun began its slow descent, dipping toward the horizon and stretching their shadows long across the meadow floor. Neither noticed the shift. The final sliver of sun slipped beneath the horizon, and the meadow transformed. The vibrant colors drained away, replaced by a flat, suffocating gray. Thick, heavy clouds rolled in from the north, sealing the sky and snuffing out the last remnants of twilight. The path that had been clear moments ago simply ceased to exist. Sammy stopped so abruptly that he stumbled, his paws trembling against the cooling earth. He reached out into the void, but his hands met only cold, damp air. The familiar landmarks, the twisted route, the flat stone, the bend in the trail were gone. "Sunny, I cannot see the trail anymore," Sammy whispered, his voice tight and thin. Sunny trotted to his side, his nose brushing against Sammy's shoulder in the dark. He stood still, ears perked, trying to catch the sound of a familiar rustle or the scent of the beaten path. But the air was stagnant and silent. They stood frozen, step by agonizing step, afraid to move lest they trip over hidden roots or tumble into the unseen brush. The meadow felt vast, hostile, and entirely empty. Every direction looked identical in the blackness, and the cold began to seep into their fur. Sammy huddled closer to Sunny, his eyes wide and searching the impenetrable black. "What if we are lost forever?" he asked, his breath hitching in the silence. Sunny paused, his head turning slowly as he scanned the dim horizon for any sign of life. Then it happened. A tiny flicker of gold danced in the distance. It pulsed once, twice, then drifted upward. A swarm of fireflies rose from the nearby bushes, their soft, rhythmic glow cutting through the heavy gloom. The light caught the edge of the dirt trail, revealing the path they had missed. "Look, Sammy! Light!" Sunny barked, his tail wagging against the dry leaves. Sammy watched the insects, their steady movement, calming his racing heart. He remembered a verse he had heard, a truth that seemed to echo in the quiet air. "You are the light of the world," he murmured, his voice steadying. "A city on a hill cannot be hidden." The realization hit him with physical force. They were not just lost wanderers, they were meant to be guides. The fear that had gripped him moments ago dissolved, replaced by a firm, new resolve. He stood tall, his paws planted firmly on the trail. They were no longer victims of the dark. They had a purpose, and they would be the ones to shine. Instead of rushing toward the safety of home, they stopped at the edge of the dark thicket. Sammy scrambled onto a low, mossy stump, his paws gripping the rough wood. He stood on his hind legs, waving his arms to catch the air. "Follow us! This way is safe!" he called out. Sunny stood guard at the base of the stump, barking in a steady, rhythmic cadence that echoed through the gloom. They waited, eyes straining against the shadows. A rustle sounded from the underbrush. A pair of long, twitching ears poked out, followed by a rabbit, trembling and hesitant. Behind him, a tiny field mouse scurried into the open. The pair did not stop there. They moved forward, Sammy signalling with his paws, and Sunny keeping the pace slow and deliberate. They navigated the winding trail, the fireflies dancing ahead like lanterns, leading the way through the silver-lit meadow. The meadow opened up, and the group reached their homes as the moon bathed the grass in silver. Sammy looked at Sunny, a grin spreading across his face. "We were the light tonight," he said, his voice soft but firm. Sunny nodded, sitting tall and proud. "And we helped our friends get home." The stars twinkled above, casting a steady glow. They moved to a patch of soft moss and bowed their heads together. "Dear God," Sammy began, his eyes closed. "Thank you for calling us to be a light. Help us show your love to everyone we meet. Teach us to shine brightly in everything we do. Amen." They sat in the silence for a moment, the weight of the night replaced by a sense of peace.
Let's discuss what we learned today.